Hello, I'm Anthony, back on track with Riversong. Final piece of the puzzle went into place this weekend. Musically, we've managed to record the harmonies finally. Life's been getting in the way for the past few weeks, but here they are. And boy, did Pauline knock them out the park. We're really going to dive in deep on the harmonies today. I'm going to show you some of the stuff that I do when I'm processing them and some of the decisions that I have to make. We're going to jump in at bar 71 and just listen to the new stuff that's got the harmonies over the top. This is the guitar solo at the end. I've done a bit of tinkering with the guitar sound. We'll have a bit of a chat about that as well. Let's get on with it. And as I've said previously, we'll fade out over that last section. So harmonies first. I want to get straight into them because this is where the meat of the episode lies. Firstly, we're just going to listen to the harmony sub on its own, just to really have a listen to exactly what she's doing. So as you can see, this is a combination of oohs and ahs. I've found that I don't know what it is about Pauline's voice, the aspects of it that I like. These two particular phonemes, is that the right word? Or these syllables? I'm not exactly sure. Anyway, they just meld together really well. We've tried lots of different vowel and consonant sounds, and these are the two that sound the best. And what I always ask her to do is every individual musical phrase, I'll ask her to sing ooh and ah versions of each. So you can see we've got this is phrase number 1. Sorry, I got my solo state wrong. Let's try that again. Same phrase. Second phrase. That low B is the lowest note Pauline can sing, and you can hear on its own it's a little bit fragile, but with the help of other notes it's absolutely fine. And the R version of that. Then we multiply each of those phrases together. Now, how many versions of each we get is entirely dependent on how much singing we've got to do, how patient Pauline is, how long her voice lasts, how thick we want the sound. It just so happens that for the majority of the phrases for this song, we got 3 good quality versions of each phrase. So when you add all of those together, bring in the R equivalent. And then you can see I'm panning. So all of the oohs for both phrases are in the left-hand side, not hard panned, but you know, somewhere in between. And all of the R's are on the right-hand side. So we've got a more distinct thing than if I literally just split all of the voices 50-50. They're actually doing something different and create an interesting stereo effect. Let's do the same kind of thing for the second phrase, see what that sounds like. The next thing I want to show you is some of the interesting decisions I've got to make in terms of how much chopping and editing to make on these vocal lines, because we have mouth noises and breathing and all sorts of clicks and pops in between. And in the past, I've been absolutely zealous in cutting all of that stuff out. And I've come to realise that part of it, or some of it, is part of the performance. And so I've stopped halfway through basically chopping these things up. So I haven't cut this section of the vocals up at all. I wanted to show you the absolutely raw as sung audio that I've got to play with. So what I'm going to do firstly is play a single line all the way through, and we can hear all of those noises that the vocalist makes when they're, a foot away from the microphone. I'm also going to mute the mic because there's a motorbike bubbling away outside. I want you to hear this as clear as possible. What a lucky man, hey? These headphones are one of the problems that we've got. If you listen, think around about here, it's possible to hear. There's the sound of the song in the background, really very, very faintly bleeding through the headphones. I no longer concern myself with those things. In the mix, that stuff is just absolutely imperceptible. What I am more interested in making decisions upon is the vocal noises and breaths. Now on its own, it sounds absolutely fine. It's not oppressive. But if I bring the entire harmony sub in and we listen to one of those silences now, after I get my levels right so that I don't blast your ears off. So with that combination of pretty much 10 different vocalists all breathing in at the same time and all basically preparing to make the next noise, and you got kind of squelchy mouth noises, all of that becomes too much when it's composited together. So I do need to cut some of that away. Now, I don't like to throw it all away because the natural expression of the vocalist taking a breath is part of the performance and I want to hear it. So what I'm basically going to do on this vocal performance is on each one of those breaths or mouth click noises or whatever, I'll basically draw in scooped automation events to just pull the volume down for those sections to make it sound as natural and performance oriented as possible, whilst, you know, that stuff doesn't get in the way of the music. Something else that I want to focus on today, let's have a listen to the beginning of the performance. I'll play you the entire harmony line in one go, just the first phrase. Again, still trying to get my vocals, still trying to get my levels right, sorry. That sounds absolutely fine to my ears, but there is a problem there, or a potential problem. I need to decide if it's a problem. Let's just hear one of the sung phrases all on its own. So the first phrase, ooh, let's listen to just those 3 tracks. They're starting at different times, quite noticeably, radically different times. Hoo-hoo. Now, on its own, that's not great. You know, you want to kind of correct that stuff. The problem is, if I go in and do audio correction on this, and there are correction tools inside Cubase that will do a lot of this stuff really pretty easily. You basically select one of your vocal lines to be the master, and then you can align, the vocal alignment tool will align the other tracks to it reasonably well. I have to make a decision as to whether or not that's something I actually want to do, because when I listen to the entire thing altogether, it sounds fabulous, and I don't want to mend what's not broken. So it's a question of, am I fixing something that's broken, or am I potentially enhancing something that already sounds good? The only way that I'm going to know is to have a bit of a play. I'll choose a couple of phrases, I'll make a branch point in my song, you know, make a backup, save what I've got, do some correction, and A/B those two to decide whether or not I'm definitely going to do it. Now, 6 months, a year ago, I would have automatically done it without even thinking. I would have aligned everything to the grid, and then perhaps applied a little bit of post randomization to just take it a little bit away from sounding like a computer. These days, my philosophy is to leave well alone. The natural vocal performance has a kind of organic quality to it that I really like, and so I'm trying not to break that, and I'm trying to be as sensitive as possible to the original recordings. So that's really interesting. When we get to the final mix, I'll try to remember to give you an update on basically what decisions were gone through. But there were just so many decisions to make when you've got this many tracks to play with, and out of the box it sounds so great. It's really difficult to decide which changes you need to make to enhance the thing, and which are just basically going to take you away from that lovely natural performance. The other thing they've been playing with is the guitar solo sound. For the longest time, I've been using the Seymour Duncan, but I've been having a bit of a play with the Big Pig and A being between them. So as you can see at the moment, I'm using the Seymour Duncan, which is a smoother sound. What I'll do is just choose one phrase and we'll solo around that. You can hear the Big Pig is much squarer. That is a brutal sound, but being such a devotee of David Gilmour, that's one of my favourite guitar sounds. So I need to decide, do I want the warmth and extra harmonic content of the Seymour Duncan distortion? It's still pretty brutal, let's be fair. Can you also see that I'm sending it through like a pre-process. This overdrive has the tiniest amount of drive on it. You can see 0.48. It's just flattening the sound out a little bit, taking away some of the harsher transients. We'll listen to that A-B with the Seymour Duncan because it's a little bit smoother. This is off. And on. Takes away some of that kind of harsh, brittle, trebly stuff right at the very top. Really weird. I've never actually used... Oh, it's not particularly the drive there should have been focusing your attention on. It's the tone knob. Tone all the way down at 0. And all it's doing is attenuating the very highest frequencies. A weird use of the overdrive. Not something I've ever done before, but I discovered that, you know, that those most brittle, the violent stuff right up at the very top, I was having difficulty taming, and on a whim I tried this overdrive solution and it worked really well. So yeah, I think I'm going to settle on the softer, warmer Seymour Duncan sound. As you can see on the amp, I've also pushed the amp pretty hard. It's now, 8 on the volume knob, which is introducing some of the additional overdriven tone of the amp itself. So loving the guitar tone. This song is now done, ready to be mixed. So we'll stop there for today. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks again to Pauline for the awesome harmony performance. She constantly amazes me, comes in, listens to this stuff, within 5 minutes she's away and doing performances like that. Really, really fabulous stuff. Thanks very much. I'll see you next time.